Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm Susan Lynn and I'm a psychic and a medium. Thank you for joining me today. If you're new here, as I mentioned, I'm a psychic and a medium and I do communicate with my spirit guides basically in real time. So what has happened is that I've asked my community to ask me spiritual questions that they want me to ask my spirit guides. And that's what we're doing today. So I have some questions here that was posted on my community page, which you can find on my main YouTube page. You'll see some tabs and you'll see a community tab. And that is where a lot of us communicate with our followers when we're not doing videos. So I'm sure there may be a few questions that I've missed, and I apologize if there are. But these spiritual questions you guys have asked for the spirit guides to answer are pretty amazing, and I feel that they're going to be a little bit deep and time consuming, so I'm going to go with what I have right now. So let's get started. So first of all, this is the only quasi-political question here. I'm not sure why I put it on the spiritual question, but there is a spiritual component to it. Christy of the Meta Studio, I'm probably not saying that right, and I'm sorry, ask me, could we please see if Spirit could give us an update on how President Zelensky is holding up? She's been very concerned about him. And she wants to know, is he being guarded spiritually? Is he being guarded and guided spiritually? And I would say yes. We have been talking about this for many videos, that this man is divinely guided. There seems to be a spiritual component to this conflagration, is the word they're using, between Ukraine and Russia. It's as if Ukraine is supposed to show us. This attack on Ukraine by Russia is supposed to help us pull back the coverings over our eyes to show us what's really going on in the world. And not to get too deep here, but there are many concurrent timelines or concurrent threads that are happening between what Putin is doing in Ukraine and what is happening in the United States and elsewhere. You can see some of the exact same verbiage that's being used by Putin, being used here in the United States by the Republicans. You can also see, what did they just say? They showed me something. It had to do with, right. With the Nazi, with Putin saying that to his own people, of course, whom he's lying to, much the same way that some of the Republicans have lied to us, that he's going to Ukraine to get rid of the Nazis. I mean, it's basically gaslighting. So yes, Zelensky is protected. He is guided. He's divinely guided. He is doing what he's supposed to be doing. He became president for the reason. He's following his soul path. And whatever happens to him, it's all divinely guided. And I, for one, am grateful. I'm grateful for this to be happening at this time. And what needs to happen, Zelensky's doing what he has to do. And what our goal, what our lesson or our part of this, the reason we're incarnated here right now, is to do our part. And our part is to see the truth, understand the truth, have compassion for those who cannot see the truth, gently push forward the truth, okay? It's not, if we push hard, it's going to push hard back. There is some sort of timing component to this. We cannot make it happen any faster than it needs to, but at the same time, each one of us is responsible for doing our part. That may simply be holding the light. It may simply be keeping yourself sane, healthy, feeling love and joy, so that others may feel love and joy. if we decide that because of these horrific things are happening in Ukraine, that we cannot ourselves feel love and joy, because how could we when so many people are suffering? They're showing me, has there ever been a time in the history of the planet Earth where suffering has not gone on? So to say that at this time I am not going to feel joy, or I just can't allow myself to be happy because there's so much suffering going on in Ukraine, would disallow that there was suffering before. When I mean, and truly, Putin has caused suffering for decades. This is not the first time. So Spirit would just say that our job is to hold the joy, is to hold the light within us, because the light that we hold within us becomes a beacon for those that are suffering in Ukraine and other places. It's not that we should be dark and depressed because they are dark and depressed. That doesn't help them. It doesn't help those that are suffering. It actually adds to the suffering of the planet. So when we choose light, when we choose joy and love, when we choose to laugh, when we choose to honor the light within ourselves, we are becoming a beacon for those that need it. And that is what Spirit is asking us to do right now. And I think that's a very powerful message. And I think that is why I started off with this question about Zelensky, because I kept asking, why didn't I do this question in the political? So I also do a separate video when I ask you political questions, and they just kept saying, no, it's where it needs to be. So obviously, I think that's a beautiful message, that by holding the joy and light, we are beacons for others that are suffering. I think that is truly an amazing message that Spirit has given us. Thank you so much, Christy, for that question. Okay, next question is from Trisha Eastman. And this is a little bit complicated, but I'm going to read it and then I'm going to try to understand it so that Spirit can answer it. She says that she was told by an animal communicator, which is an animal psychic, that she has been an herbalist and an animal communicator in a previous life. Okay, so she was told that in a previous life she was an animal psychic and also an herbalist, which makes sense to me with her energy. Okay. She also told this woman that she went to, also told her that her dog that she adopted was with her in a previous life. Makes sense. I do think that dogs can stay with us in throughout lifetimes if they choose, and if there's a lesson, co-creating. We both have to be co-creating. Okay. So also, there's another part to this. This same dog that is in her life now, but she reincarnated with in a previous life, was not a dog. In the previous life, the dog took the form of a bird. And she saw her, this lady who's commenting says that the woman that read her saw her with her arm out and the bird perching on the arm. Okay? So that's how she knew it was a bird. And she says that that bird is now reincarnated as a dog. Okay, so the thing is, reincarnation seems superfluous to me if we can't take the knowledge that we learned in a previous life and carry it over to another. Is there any way to regain that consciousness we had in a previous life and the knowledge that we have learned throughout our existence in that life or lives? How do we evolve? Okay, that's a complicated, I'm not sure if it's worded exactly the way she wants, but I think what she's saying is that why? I think she's asking the question I always ask. Why? Why must we become ignorant? Why must we become blind to what's happened in the past? Why don't we carry that knowledge over? And how do we evolve, right? So this is a kind of a heavy thing. Okay, so spirit, and I'm going to try to answer this quickly, actually. Okay, obviously, we could do a whole video on this. I mean, on this topic alone, there's probably hundreds of hours of videos out there that answer this very question. I'm going to answer it like this. Okay. I'm talking to them right now. Okay. It has to do with the soul learning the lesson, and it has to do with, it's sort of like difficulty. They're trying to give me a metaphor, a way to describe this. Okay, so it's sort of like a level of difficulty, right? So your soul learns lessons in the life. You cross over, you die, you go through your life review, you do all those things, and you say, okay, I still need to learn these lessons. I went down to earth and I didn't learn these lessons. And then on top of that, I did some things that caused me to have to learn some more lessons. So you actually added to your lessons by things that you did here. So you come back down, you jump in the body of a baby, and you come back down here picking your parents and your early life experiences so that you will be challenged to learn those lessons. Now, it's not like you come down here with no assistance. Number one, it's not like you are wiped clean of any memory or any energy. Okay, so that would be, right? Like, what's the point? I came down here and I know nothing, and I have to learn it all over again without the benefit of anything that I learned before? Why would I do that? Well, you do have the benefit. And here's where there's perhaps some hidden keys that are not very well hidden, but once we find them, we can use them to unlock our soul's journey and move through our soul's journey quicker and learn our lessons easier and quicker. Okay, so what is the key? Well, here's some keys. First of all, your past lives are not hidden from you. Even if you never get a past life regression, your past life has energy that exists in this life, which is a clue and a key. So what would those energies be? Well, so many energies, so many, it's like a flavor of this life. It's an indication. An interesting thing is that we feel this energy from our past lives, but that feeling is just a feeling. Sometimes we actually react to the feeling in our current life as if it's real, but it's not. So let me give you an example. So you grew up in Phoenix, Arizona, and you've never been to the ocean, but yet you have an actual palpable, real fear of sharks. Now, why would you have a real phobia of sharks when you've never been to the ocean? You grew up in the desert. Okay, so that's an indication that in a previous life you had some kind of real experience with a shark. Spider. A lot of our phobias are from past lives. Okay. Also, you may have, that's really interesting. They're talking about also about personality traits they want to call character flaws, which is interesting. I mean, it is a character flaw in my opinion, but they want to talk about racism. They want to talk about how, I mean, I know for me, I had a past life in which I was a black man, and I remember that past life with absolute clarity, or not all of it, but I remember key moments of that past life with absolute clarity. I was born into a family full of racists in Kentucky during the 60s. And I came out of the womb not racist. Literally, from a very, very young age, not understanding why all of my family was racist. I literally came out different. Now that's because I had this past life and I remembered what it was like. Now this can go both ways, right? You could have been racist in a previous life and met your end. You could have, they're showing me for whatever reason, a white person battling Indians and the Indians killing their family. And then you come up into this life, meaning this life right now, and you're racist because you have this, you don't understand why you do, but you have this angst, this anger against anybody who doesn't look like you, right? I mean, that could have influenced your life in this life. And I'm not saying it's right. I'm saying that this is a key. Why don't we look at our influences? Why don't we look at, why am I triggered by this? Why don't we genuinely look at it? That holds the key to learning our lessons in this life. So it's not like everything is wiped clear and you're just sat here to try it all over again. You have triggers. You have keys. You have keys to unlock information that's going to help you grow. And it's up to you. You can decide to not unlock any of this information and just muddle through. You can decide to allow the triggers to trigger you and still be in that same energy that you were in the last couple of lifetimes. And that's fine too. I mean, that's your choice. That's your soul's choice. So in that case, I'm thinking of like a Hitler or somebody who has been incarnated multiple times and chosen to continue the energy of violence, of hate. So you carry with you a little bit of this energy. Remember, we just talked about it being a flavor. We talked about it being a filter that sort of settles on you. For some reason, you may just be hateful. Now, instead of picking or learning from, if you're a hateful person and you've been called out on it, and instead of saying, gosh, I really want to learn from this, instead you double down on the hate and you find more resources to help you double down on the hate by finding more other people that are in that position. Your soul's not growing. I promise you, all those people had opportunities. I mean, Hitler was in prison. I mean, these people had opportunities to turn it around, to choose something different, and they chose not to use one of their keys. They chose not to look at their own behavior, look at themselves, and therefore they didn't grow. So the key here is to look at yourself. Why am I like this? Why did I choose this? Why did I do that? A really good book is Soul Contracts by Danielle Mckinnon. You can see how worn this is. Used to have even more post-it notes, but my puppy decided she wanted to read it yesterday. But that's a key. Going back and figuring out, what are my soul contracts so that I can clear them out and move on. Why not? If you want to evolve, all of these things are there for you to learn how to evolve. And the last key, well, not the last key, but another key in this puzzle is your spirit guides. We all have a soul path. We just talked about Zelensky. This was Zelensky's soul path to be president of Ukraine. We pick a soul path, and our guides, our spirit guides, will do everything in their power to help us, to nudge us, lead us, encourage us to follow that soul path. Now, they're not going to say, Susan, become a psychic and a medium. Well, actually, they did say that. But anyway, for most people, they're not going to do that. It's much more subtle. It could be an advertisement you see. It could be a song that you see, that you hear. I just saw a song today. This morning, I woke up with this song, and all I could remember was it's a sign, something about a sign. And I woke up this morning singing that song. And so I looked it up and I looked at the words and I said, okay, they're sending me a message in this song. And I thought I emailed it to myself, but I don't see it right here. Oh yes, here it is. I got a sign. So the song is, I can't remember who it's by, but it's, it was popular a few years ago. And it says, I saw the sign and it opened up my eyes. I saw the sign. I woke up hearing I saw the sign and I knew that it was music. I saw the sign. Life is demanding without understanding. This is the lyrics of the song, you guys. I saw the sign and it opened up my eyes. I saw the sign. No one's going to drag you up to get into the light where you belong. But where do you belong? Right? Under the pale moon, for so many years, I've wondered who you are and how a person could bring me joy under the pale moon. So anyway, it just goes on. But the chorus is, I saw the sign and it opened my eyes. That's how they communicate with us. So throughout your life, they're communicating with you pretty much every day. I promise you. You're seeing an advertisement. You're hearing a song. You're seeing repeating numbers. You're seeing feathers, coins, whatever it is for you, rocks, heart-shaped things, signs in the clouds, signs on signs like license plates. You have ideas, thoughts, nudges. I don't know why I know this, but I just know it. That is your spirit guides. When you say, I don't know how I know this, but I just know it. Or I don't know why I wanted to take this route to work. It's not my normal route, but I did. And then I found out there was a great big delay and I would have been 30 minutes late for this meeting. Boy, was I lucky. Well, is that your intuition? Yes, it's your intuition connect to your spirit guides. So you've got your guides guiding you. Okay, so you're not just like set here, like, completely, your hard drive is wiped. It's there for you if you care to go looking for it. You can learn from your past life. What triggers, what mistakes, what happened. And I promise you, all those things that happened in your past life are now soul contracts. So get this book. Do the exercises, change your life. Okay, I have no idea if that made any sense. I hope it did. Like I said, I could probably do an entire video on that. But let's see. Thank you for your question. Really appreciate it. Sandra Lee Schubert says, how can we reduce the anxiety so many people are feeling? Is there a spiritual solution? Yes. What did the guides say earlier? Feel the joy in your body. Be the beacon to those that are suffering. We are really experiencing anxiety. I speak to people every day that are experiencing anxiety. Let me explain why we're experiencing more anxiety than normal. I mean, you might just think, well, of course we are. I mean, every day we think World War III is going to happen. Prices are up. Gas is up. There was an attack on the Capitol. Other countries are experiencing, high inflation. Other countries are having elections right now. So I think that we're also all feeling change. We're as humans on Earth, we're feeling the energetic feeling of change. Change makes us nervous. We like to know that things are going to be what we expect them to be. It makes us feel better and it makes us feel more comfortable. So change also makes us feel a little bit of anxiety. The other reason we're feeling anxiety is because, and I think they're saying this is the main reason. The main reason is because during the lockdown, and I have to be a little bit careful what words I use these days. So during that time when we were sort of sequestered into our homes and we weren't doing things, all of our little release valves, you might look at it, if you can imagine a teapot that then the steam starts coming out of the teapot, right? It starts out with no steam, and then the water boils, and then all of a sudden steam is coming out, and that is a release. That teapot is releasing the steam that's inside that is built up. So, and this is going to seem perhaps too easy or too simple of a explanation, but I'm going to ask you to just sit with it for a while, because they've been telling me this for 2 years, and they don't ever repeat themselves like this. So our release valves were taken away from us. Little mundane things, simple things that were in our lives. Maybe we went to lunch with our friends or our family. Maybe we went to the movies. Maybe we did vacations. Maybe we had groups that we met with. Maybe we went to church. Maybe we worked out at the gym. Maybe we, there are a million things in your daily life. What has changed? Think about it. Write it down. What has changed? 3 years ago, what did you do for fun? At the time, it seemed like, whatever, I'm just going to lunch with some coworkers. You can imagine somebody calling you, are you in the middle of something? No, I'm just at lunch with some coworkers. What's going on? It turns out that lunch with coworkers was a release valve, and it's gone. It's been gone. Seeing your grandkids, gone. Experiencing birthdays, birthday parties, celebrations, weddings, anniversaries, gone. We couldn't even go to funerals. We couldn't visit our loved ones in the hospital, in nursing homes, gone. Things that were very much happenstance, commonplace, normal, nothing important, nothing to write home about, are now gone. And it turns out that each of those little things was a release valve. Being able to see a loved one in the hospital allows us to honor the fact that we care about them and that they're ill or sick or possibly even dying. And we get to say our last wishes, or we get to support them. But now when you can't do that, it gets blocked. Having a busy life and getting to go out to trivia night with your friends is a release. Going out to have a couple of glasses of wine and Ubering home is a release. Taking your kids to the museum or your grandkids those are all releases. All of our releases got shut off. So that steam has been building and building and building. Now you want to add to that, we needed those releases before. When our lives were, when you look back at it, flat out boring. We needed those releases before. But now we've added a lot more stress. A lot more stress. And the release valves, when they came back online, were fraught with peril. Do I go to this restaurant? Do I want to risk getting the thing? Do I go to the movies? Do I really want to risk getting this thing? Now your release valve has got a price tag attached to it that is stressful. So yes, we're all anxious. You want to add to that this crazy political situation we've been experiencing, and the effect of not feeling like there hasn't been any justice, of being gaslit. The whole nation of the United States has been gaslit. I'm sure other countries have. I think Canada has. I think Australia has. I think France has. I mean, Putin is doing a number on all of us. It's not just one country. So we are anxious, and that's the reason why. So how do we deal with it? Is there a spiritual solution? Well, yeah. I mean, there's a spiritual solution, but there's also just a really practical, good solution, and that is allow the joy to come into your heart. So here's some options. And what has Spirit been if you've been watching me for a long time, you know, at the end of almost every video, I would talk about self-care. Self-care. And we can talk about it all we want, but if you don't start doing it, you're going to have panic attacks. You're going to get sick. You're going to develop things that you never had. You might develop migraines. You might develop high blood pressure. You might put on extra weight. You might get depressed. You might have some other anxiety. You might become anxious even going outside. You may have anxiety going to the mall. Okay? So how do we combat that, right? I mean, of course there's a pill for everything, right? But truth be told, the real way to, well, not the real way. A pill is helpful, okay? A pill can help you bridge the gap. It's sort of like training wheels on a bicycle. You use the training wheels so you can get your balance. Once you get your balance, you can take the wheels off and off you go. Okay, so taking medication can be an important way to start dealing with this, okay? And then what we want to do is we want to learn how to ride the bike without the training wheels, which means that we want to take that medication and then move forward away from taking it. We want to stand on our own without it eventually. So here's some ways to do that. There's 1,000, but I'm only going to give you a few. The guides, probably their number one. It's not their number one. One of their most suggested ways of raising your vibration is through a gratitude list. A gratitude list. I know you guys have heard me talk about this, but I'm going to continue talking about it because it saved my sanity. I went through a really terrible time, probably one of the worst times in my entire life. And I really had to get serious about how was I going to make it through this day by day? How was I going to climb out of that low energy, depression, low vibration every day? How was I going to climb out of it? And a gratitude list is a very good way. Now, let me explain why. You're going to ask yourself 50 things you're grateful for. 50. Now, you're going to get to the point where you're going to count your fingers. You're going to count your toes. You may count your hearing. You may count the fact that you're mobile. I mean, this is after you count all the normal things, your kids, your house, your husband, but you get to a point where you've counted everything and you can't think of anything else to count. Now, if you get to 50, Spirit would suggest that you increase the difficulty by going to 75. So you get to this place where you don't know what else to count. And that, my friends, is where the magic happens. That is where the shift in your energy happens. So when you get to that place that you don't know what else to count, you start looking for things. Because, you got to get to 75. And you don't have all day to do this, so you're going to start looking for things to be grateful for. Now, if you're in your house and you're doing this gratitude list, you might start looking around your house and you go, oh, wow. You know what? I'm seeing that picture that I bought when I was traveling, and I brought it home. And every time I see it, I think, wow, that was such a great vacation. But you know what? I forgot that picture was there because it's just become another thing in my house, and I haven't noticed it before in a long time. But now I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, golly, I love that picture. That was the best vacation. I'm so glad that I got that. I'm so glad that I thought to buy that and bring it home and hang it on my wall. I'm grateful for that. Now, that picture you've walked by every day for probably the last 2 years. And other than maybe dusting it, you never noticed it. You never connected back to that energy. But now you did. You connected back with the joy. You connected back with the gratitude of that vacation. The gratitude of the feeling of being on that vacation and having had the foresight to buy something and bring it home and then to honor it by hanging on the wall. So now that gratitude shifted your energy. It literally shifted your energy. You're now happier than you were. And actually, Spirit has been talking about this a lot. You can, this is a really good thing to do. You can write down a list. You can say your happiness scale before you do the gratitude list. You can say, my happiness today is whatever. 1 through 10, 10 being just blindingly happy, 1 being depressed, 5 being, I'm okay. All right? So before you start the gratitude list, you write down, what is my happiness? Maybe it's 5. I'm all right. Okay. After you do the gratitude list, rewrite down what it is. How happy are you now? Did it go to 8? Did it go to 6? Did it go to 9? That's how you can prove to yourself that doing something like a gratitude list can boost your mood. And if you boost your mood, your anxiety is going to be less. Those little things that bother you aren't going to bother you as much. You're going to have more grace. You're going to be able to have more patience with yourself and others throughout your day because you've just boosted your energy. So it works like that. You may be outside counting your gratitude list in your yard, and you finally, as you're looking around for something to be grateful for, you notice that some spring flowers are blooming. And you know what? You didn't even know they had come up. Because when you go in your backyard, you have things that you always do. You're not really looking around. But now you are looking around. You're looking for something to be grateful for. And you see something to be grateful for. And then maybe you walk over there and you pull the weeds that are growing around them. Oh my gosh, I better give you a better chance here because you're starting to come up. Or maybe you move a rock, or maybe you put a little fence around them if you have a new puppy. God bless your soul. And you try to protect that little flower, right? So this is how you boost your well-being. Okay, some other ways very quickly are listen to happy music. When you're in your car, if you're a person who travels to work in your car or by train and you're using headphones, instead of they're talking about this in any case, instead of like filling your brain with the news or books on tape or work, why not take 5 minutes and listen to a comedian that you like? Take 5 minutes and listen to some happy music that you like. That is a sure mood booster. Walking can be a mood booster. Being in nature is very healing. Drive to the park. Walk outside. Walk in the park. Take an extra 5 minutes and spend time with a pet. That can be a mood booster. This is an inside job. None of us have a line of cheerleaders lined up to boost us unless you're a celebrity. And even then they're fake. So it's not the best thing, right? It's an inside job, people. We have to do this for ourselves, and we can. We have all the ability. The message here is not to suffer yourself because somebody else is suffering. That doesn't help them, and it doesn't help you. And when you fill up yourself with light, when you fill up your car at the gas station, you can go further. When you fill up yourself with light and energy and joy, you can go further. You can do more. Okay? Hopefully that was helpful for you. Let's see if there's another quick message. G. Kim, G, thank you for your question, says, how do we know whether... Okay, great. Good question. Okay, so how do we know if we're connecting to angels or guides versus a deceased person? Is there a difference in the vibration, the color, the feeling? And she wants to know, or G, I'm not sure if it's male or female, but they want to know how it is for me. Okay, well, we're all different. Spirit likes to say that just like our fingerprints, we're all unique and different. And when it comes to this kind of thing, we're all going to connect very differently and uniquely. However, there are some tips that I can give you, some overall typical things that I've experienced. So they're bringing me back to the song. So I got that song this morning. And I'm kind of channeling this, right? So I don't remember what I just said. But I got the song. It's just so funny when I read the lyrics. I saw a sign and it opened my eyes. I saw the sign. Life is demanding without understanding. I saw the sign and it opened my eyes. And listen to this. No one's going to drag you up. What did Spirit just say? There's not a line of cheerleaders waiting to say, Susan, you got this. You can do this. This was literally something I had to do for myself. I had to say, Susan, nobody's going to be cheerleading you, sadly. I mean, maybe you have a cheerleader in your life and be very grateful for that. But I didn't. No one is going to go out of their way in my life right now and say, Susan, wow, you're doing great and you can do this, right? So again, to the song, no one's going to drag you up and do this for you. So how do I know that is, who's that song from? Right? How do I know? Why did I wake up hearing this song? What is the message? How do I know who it's from? Because your loved ones will use songs. They will use songs a lot. The difference is that it will have meaning to you. So I know that my dad, who's deceased, when you're a teenager and your parents listen to the worst type of music and you're like, my God, somebody stop, drilling ice picks into my ears while I have to be in the car with them and listen to this music. I was in the car with my dad one time and he actually was listening to something popular, and it was the Eagles, and it was Take It to the Limit. And first of all, I was just shocked beyond belief that this man had something on the radio that wasn't, killing me. And second of all, he actually said the words, I like this song. And I was like, the pod people have gotten my dad, and my real dad is no longer here. Because it was so out of character for him. So if you're going to hear a song, if I was going to hear a song from my dad, it would be something I associate with my dad. It would either be that song, or my dad was a trickster, so he was always singing jingles and then changing the words to them, which was extremely irritating to me as a young child and a teenager. But so that's how I would know it's my dad. This song is not a song my dad would have ever heard. And so it's not likely a message from him. Okay. So that's one thing. So so again, on that same thing, they're saying, you may smell cigarette smoke when no one is around. And it's weird. It's like you really smell it. You're like, golly, how can I be smelling cigarette smoke? That's your loved ones. You smell cologne. That's your loved ones. Flowers. That's your loved ones. You have something happen to you that's connected to them. Perhaps your mother loved red cardinals, and perhaps she actually decorated, like she had a pillow with a red cardinal on it, or maybe during Christmas this was something that she put on the tree, or you just knew that your mom, or she fed cardinals and she went out of her way to buy them the feed that they like to eat, blah blah blah. Well, if you see a red cardinal and this cardinal is acting out of the ordinary, now here's another thing. If you see a bird and they're just being a bird, then that's not a sign. If you see a cardinal and they're sitting on your car and don't leave as you walk up to it, that's a sign. They're out of the ordinary. If you see a cardinal sitting on your window from the outside pecking, that's out of the ordinary. That's a sign. If you see a squirrel, any animal, any insect that does something out of the ordinary, that's a sign. If they make eye contact with you, if the squirrel sits on your patio and just stares at you and won't stop, no matter what you do, you get up, you walk around, the squirrel doesn't leave, you're not feeding the squirrels. You haven't seen this squirrel before. It's out of the ordinary. That's a deceased loved one. So your guides are more guidance. They sent me the song. That's guidance to me. G also mentioned colors. Absolutely. You can feel or see a color. You may feel or see yellow. Now, if your mom or your sister loved yellow, that's probably them. If you don't have anybody on the other side in heaven or wherever that liked yellow, then I would assume that yellow that you're seeing in your meditation, or that yellow that you're feeling, or you just keep getting, like they're telling me right now that you could see the word yellow. And then you could see a yellow car. And then somebody could give you yellow flowers. Well, if there's no one on the other side that has any connection to yellow, then that's your spirit guide. Then what I would do, well, what I do is Google everything. But so you could Google it and say, what is the energetic meaning of yellow? And then try to understand the message. Okay? But you can also meditate. So you can actually go into a little meditation. And a really easy way to do this, you guys, is to do a guided meditation that you can get on YouTube. You can do a 5-minute guided meditation on self-love, which is a great idea. Go back to the previous question. And then when the meditation ends, don't stop the meditation. Just when they say you can open your eyes, blah, 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 don't. Stay in the energy. Just stay in that beautiful, calm, relaxed energy. And from that place that they got you to through the guided part, you're going to then ask them about the yellow. Please tell me what the yellow means for my highest good. Okay? So I like using short meditations as a way to get in the zone, and then afterwards I can actually talk with them or ask them the questions that I want to ask them, because I'm in that peaceful, relaxed, connected space. So that's really a good trick to use. If you're a clairsentient, and which means feeling, you feel something, you feel, you don't know why, but you wake up feeling happy. That ever happened? I mean, sometimes we wake up and we're grumpy, right? But sometimes we wake up and we're happy. Well, that's your spirit guides, right? That's your spirit guides showing you good things are coming. Now, I need to talk about timing because this is really important. The timing is just off. There's just no other way to describe it. Our timing is so slow here on Earth. It's glacial, literally glacial. Over there, it's fast, fast, fast. Okay, so I feel like that's because we need more time to consider our options and to make corrections. Okay, so if you make a decision and then the outcome of that decision is immediate, then you just don't have as much time to change your mind about the decision or to, do something different. So I think our time is slow to give us plenty of time to correct our issues before the outcome, the energetic outcome of our actions. Okay. So when you wake up feeling good and you're like, oh my gosh, I just feel so happy today. And then something bad happens that day, you might say, well, what the heck? What was that about? Right? Well, it could just be that the timing, they sent you this good feeling because, well, for one thing, to them, bad things happening is not bad things happening. It's simply a lesson. It's an opportunity to learn something. So they don't think of things the way we do. But it also could be that something really good is coming. Perhaps because of this bad thing. Maybe this bad thing happens at work and you're like, you know what? That's it. I've had it. I'm going to go look for a new job. And maybe that day is the day that you go home and you spruce up your resume and you send it out, and a month or 2 months later you get a new job, but you don't trace it back to that day. You have no idea that was the day that started the whole thing. The morning you woke up happy, you went to work and had a terrible day, but then that night is what started the whole cause and effect. So that leads me to journaling, another thing that I don't like to do. But it's so important. If you can journal this stuff, if you journal every day, and you don't have to write, volumes, you can simply write the day, today is the date. I woke up happy. Then you come home from work and you're like, this day sucked. This is what happened. I can't believe I woke up happy. WTF spirit guides, right? So then you say, I'm writing, I'm finally doing it. I'm going to put my resume out there. Every day you write whatever happens, and then you look back at it and it tells a story. And you find that day that you woke up early, and you find that day that you woke up happy, and you find that day that was the day. But it's 2 months later and you can see all the things that happened, and you can see why now you have this new job and you've never been happier. Perhaps it started that morning when you woke up happy but had a really bad day. So their guidance of us is they love to guide us on the down low. Our spirit guides love to guide us on the down low. What does that mean? Under the surface, under the radar, under our consciousness. Now, why do they like to do that? Well, because if you can nudge a human and guide a human, and the human does the action without thinking about it, they usually just do it. So it's done, and it moves you along your soul path. When you can talk to your guides and you say, oh, you want me to start applying for jobs, but I can't apply for jobs. I mean, the labor market's terrible. I'll never get another job. This job is terrible, but at least it's a job that I know. And I don't want to do that. Okay. So what happened is you're having a dialogue of, negativity. But if that spirit guide can make you happy, make you go to work and be sad, come home, be really mad, and have that energy to move forward and you never ask a question, this whole thing can sort of happen very seamlessly. Okay? So that is why they like to guide us on the down low. I'm going to be finishing this up, and this is going to be my last question. I hope that made sense. I know that everything that I'm telling you, you're going to have a lot more questions about these things. I'm happy for you to put them in the comments. If you guys want me to do a whole video on any one of these things, or you want more information about these things, please let me know in the comments. I'll be happy to do more videos about this. This is what I love doing videos about. I do a lot of classes on these types of things. So I'm happy to do it. Just let me know what you think. Okay, last question. Pat Lee says, hello. Hello, Pat. Thank you for your question. When a person sees an orb, a fairy, or any other type of energy, is it intentional or accidental? That's a really, really good question. Initially, my thought was it's intentional. I mean, you wouldn't, it's very rare for something to be an accident. I just don't even think there are accidents. I think everything is, I think there's a reason for everything. I don't think there's coincidences. Okay? When you think about the fact that you've got a whole crew of spirit guides sending you songs and advertisements and people even to talk to you and say things to you, and you're like, wow, I want to do that too, or wow, if they're doing it, I can do it, right? This is all of this stuff is guided. You have so much help, so much help. I don't think it's accidental, but what they showed me and why I paused was, your spirit guides, I don't know how to describe this. It's intentional on your behalf and accidental on their behalf. Okay, so here's what can happen. There's so much. These things could just be whole videos. Okay, you saw a flash. Like I'm going to be on last night. I'm on the couch and I'm reading, and my new puppy and I at the same time, our heads snapped up at exactly the same time, because she was in my line of sight and she was laying on her bed, and we were both, our heads were facing the same direction towards the hallway. And at the same time, I looked up, and out of my peripheral, I saw she looked up too, and I saw something go by my hallway. Now, I saw that because I can. Because I'm a psychic and a medium, and I'm in tune to it. I'm in tune to the energy. I probably, on some level, I can't even just tell you with words, I felt it. I had a knowing, claircognizance. I knew something was there, and then I saw the flash all at the same time. This happened so quickly, you can't discern that you had all of those things. That's when you say, I don't know how I know, but I knew, right? So now I saw it, but I do think that sometimes it didn't want me to see it. So sometimes it's accidental on their behalf, intentional on my behalf. Hopefully that makes sense, right? So now sometimes they taunt us. I mean, they slow down. They want us to see it. Taunting maybe is not the right word, but there's no accident anywhere. They want us to notice them. Now, when I say them, is it a fairy, an orb? Is it an alien? Is it your grandmother? Is it your spirit guide? Yes, all of the above. Could be any of those things, okay? And if they really want you to see it, you'll see it. But sometimes, if you're very in tune, you'll catch something that didn't want to be seen. Now, why is that? Well, because again, it's like the spirit guides, they like to do their work on the down low, because if we know about them, we're going to toss them out, So if there's a ghost in my house and I know that there's a ghost in my house, what am I going to do? I'm going to try to cross it over to the light, or I'm going to toss it out of my house. So they don't want to be seen. If it's a spirit guide, sometimes they don't want to be seen either. Again, the spirit guides want to get their work done. What is the fastest way for me to encourage Susan to do this thing that we want her to do? Well, it's certainly not having a conversation with her, because she asks a lot of questions. But why? But what happens if I do that? You really think I'm going to do that? Are you crazy? I'm not going to do that. Nope, I'm not going to do that. That's what they heard from me for years. You think I'm going to be on YouTube? Ha! That's funny. Yeah, y'all are funny. Here I am on YouTube. So it's better if they don't communicate with us sometimes, right? Because we can ask questions, and we can also have real fears about things. I'm an introvert. I know you guys don't believe me, but I am really an introvert. So, I don't like being in front of people. And that's why perhaps they started me being in front of a screen. It's a much easier transition to just talk to a screen than it is to, 5,000 people in an audience, right? So yes, sometimes it's intentional, sometimes it's accidental. It's always intentional on your behalf. If you see it, it's intentional on your behalf. Does that make sense? You may have caught something that was like, oops, she caught me. Okay? Listen, I hope it's 10111. I hope that this was helpful for you. Please let me know if you want to see more videos like this, or if you have a topic that you would like to see the guides answer, or if you have questions about the things that they talked about. I'm happy to do that. As I mentioned, I do offer classes from time to time. You can always check my website, which is susanlynnmedium.com. I also have a Patreon group, which is a membership group, and we talk about purely metaphysical, spiritual things like this. I don't talk about politics on there, or I haven't as of yet. I don't plan to, but we'll see what the guides want to do. But we have oracle classes. We just have a lot of fun. We have Zoom meetings. I'll leave the information down below, but you can go to patreon.com/Susan Lynn Medium, I think. Listen, I hope you take really good care of yourselves, okay? Be the light that is the beacon that those are suffering can see. I will never forget that for as long as I live. That is profound. And I really feel like that is the answer to a lot of our questions and a lot of our problems here on Earth. So take really good care. Much love to you. We'll talk soon right here on this channel.